Appreciate you so much, for this amazing display of how do we come together to solve real problems. And Shabazz, I remember the conversation we had when I met him at an event, and he put this idea in my ear. And when I got back to the office, I called the team together and I said, I met an amazing young man. Let's get together and hear his idea. But also think about Eric. Eric, we talked about years ago, and Eric approached me one day and he put in my ear this whole concept of decreasing speed. And I was like, are you serious? And he did a video, and it just took on steam. And so I say that to say, because a few days ago I sat down with a young man who had a different opinion about policing. And I sat down, and I really encourage people to see the video. It was a very healthy conversation that just took on, for whatever reason, took on a life of his own, but it wasn't contentious. I sit down and talk to people. That's a revolutionary idea in a space where everyone believes they have to be right to make someone else wrong. We don't have to be that way. We could learn so much of just sitting down and say, I want to seek to understand so I could be understood. And the reason we're standing here today is because I sought to understand. The reason we decrease speed limits in the city is because I sought to understand. The reason we're going to live together in our city is because we're going to seek to understand. And I don't care when people complain about me, call me names. In the long run, we are going to learn to live together. That's it. We're going to learn to live together. Folks better get used to this. That's what it's going to be about. And it's going to be painful sometimes. It's going to be painful. We're going to sit in a room with folks that we traditionally would rather not sit in the room. So it's going to be painful. We're in a growing moment. We're about to give birth to what it's like to be in a city as diverse as New York. So we're going to feel growing pain, but it's a great moment to feel growing pain because we come on the other side, we're going to be amazing people. And so to all the names that Shabazz mentioned, longtime allies, one of the most significant organizations that, I don't know if he mentioned or not, is Good Company Bike Club. Waking up the African American and other communities of colors, the experience. Why is that significant? Anyone that's part of the bike movement would tell you that when you try to do infrastructure bike lanes in communities of color, you get a lot of pushback because people are saying, you're coming and not talking to us when you're doing it. And so this has become the ambassador to those communities. If we want to change people, we have to get on the ground. You will never be a good shepherd if you don't hang out with the sheep. And this Good Company Bike Club, young African-American professionals that are really engaged in how do we bring people to the place. Don't meet people where you are. Meet people where they are and take them where they ought to be. If you meet people where you are, you will never be able to reach them and bring them to where you want them to be. Hercules, my staffer, rides all the time, part of the riding movement. Brian Lynch rides all the time, part of the riding movement. I'm on my bike all the time. So we don't just talk about it. We're like the hair club for men guy. We are the clients of this movement. And so having a bike hub like this is crucial. I believe New York City is the hub of innovation. Let's get back there. Let's be unafraid to try something new. We become so stagnant as a city. We have a culture of can't and a culture of failure. What Shabazz went through just to do this was unbelievable. People started out saying no, no, no. We have a culture of no in this city. It's time to have a culture of yes, embrace failure that's healthy so that we can get to the place that we want to get to because failure is part of that process. And so we're going to be a city of innovation, a city of ideas. No matter how crazy they may be, we will find a solution to those ideas. And we could also harness creativity and diversity. This city can tackle some of the most pressing problems by having that combination of creativity and diversity. And Oonee is a perfect example of a company that identified a problem and used innovative approach to solve this. This is an amazing small unit that's here, and this is how we're going to secure our bikes in the future. Access to secure bicycle parking is the #2 reason that people are afraid to have bikes and move throughout the city. And so we want to take away that barrier from those who want to utilize bike. And we don't have nearly enough bike parking spaces. I think TA, Transportation Alternative, pointed out in one of their studies that one parking space of cars, we have one parking space in comparison to the number of biking parking that we need. So 116 to 1. We need to change that scenario. And people are also, as Shabazz mentioned, you're afraid that your bike is going to be stolen. 1 in 4 families and hard-earned income New Yorkers are dealing with losing a bike. It costs a lot, and we want to make sure that we can have secure parking in the city. And many of those at risk are those who are delivery men and women who use and utilize their bikes to deliver their food. It's their way of living. They lose their bike, they lose their income in the process. And so we know the DOT is planning on doing 10,000 new bike parking, but that's in 2022. By the end of 2022, the movement is here now. We need to put it on fast track. We need to get it done right away. That's why we're going to partner with folks like Shabazz to get it moving forward in a more rapid pace. And you can see just by looking at this group we have here, the diversity of this movement. And folks are excited to be here and being a part of what we're attempting to accomplish. And it's not like it's not growing. This movement is growing at a pace that is unbelievable. DOT's own numbers. There was 1.8 million more bike trips in 2020 compared to 2019, 33% increase. People are seeing one solution solve a multitude of problems. We have childhood diabetes and obesity. How about allowing children to ride to school in a safe pathway all the time? We have people dealing with healthcare crisis. How about them riding their bike to see their doctors? How about having safe spaces for seniors to be comfortable and riding in our streets, and then stopping off and interacting with each other? So biking does an amazing way of bringing our city together. And the more infrastructure we build, the more likely people will use bikes in a real way. Best example, Brooklyn Bridge. The Brooklyn Bridge bike ramp, we have witnessed an 88% jump in average daily bike crossing over the bridge. A vision that was put out, materialized. People thought it was impossible. It was done, and people are using the Brooklyn Bridge bike passing, and I'm just so happy. Every time I cross it, it's just a great experience to do it on that separate lane. And so we have other hubs that were put in place. We did the rollout over at Atlantic Avenue. We're going to continue to do the rollout. It's imperative that we continue to make it happen. And so I think that we're creating a model that will be utilized citywide. And we must make sure we go into those non-traditional communities, East New York, South Jamaica, Queens, Jamaica Avenue subway station, Sumter Boulevard, Flatbush Avenue, Canarsie, Rockaway, those areas where the transportation is not there, the infrastructure is not there. We could use this, park your bikes off, get on the subway, the bus, building out that infrastructure instead of a disconnected infrastructure, a unified infrastructure. So I am just really happy to be here on many levels. Number one, as a platoon commander, this was my precinct. I watched this precinct where we used to drive down here and we used to see the place filled with crack pipes. We used to see a high level of crime and violence. I remember a few years ago with Carolyn Maloney spending the night over in the park fighting to say we need a park in this community and putting $1 million in moving this initiative forward. I remember spending time here walking through the neighborhoods of watching this rich startup community that's coming here. It's a great place, folks. Don't let anybody kid you. This is a great, great, great borough and a great, great, great city. And just as 9/11 couldn't stop us, we got up 9/12. During it, COVID is not going to stop us. We're getting up again, and we're going to show this country how to lead cities in the right way. Thank you so much, and good job today.